Hey everyone, welcome back to another Explainer. Today we're diving straight into the human body's largest internal gland, and we're going to break it all down in a visual journey. We're exploring the anatomy and physiology of the liver. Honestly, just think of it as the ultimate biological factory working completely silently inside of you.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the basic anatomy of the liver, then zoom in on the lobules, check out the portal triad system, meet the hepatocytes and Kupffer cells, and finally wrap up with the essential liver functions.
All right, part one, basic anatomy of the liver. Let's look at its location and structure.
To give you an idea of the sheer scale here, this organ typically weighs anywhere from 1 to 2.3 kilograms. That massive size makes it the single largest internal gland in your entire body. It's tucked right up there in the upper part of your abdominal cavity, just below the diaphragm and right above your stomach.
Okay, let's dive into this. The liver is primarily split into two distinct parts, a smaller left lobe and a much larger right lobe. And that right lobe, it has an absolute superpower: regeneration. Literally, if a portion of this right lobe is removed for a liver transplant, its cells actually have the capability to regrow and redevelop. It is the only organ in your body that can pull off this incredible regenerative feat. Insane, right?
Moving right along to section 2, zooming in, the lobules. These are the functional units.
So if we take a microscope and zoom way down into those right and left lobes, we don't just see a random mush of tissue. No, we see these perfect, geometric, hexagonal-shaped structures called lobules. Think about it like this. What's the functional unit of a motorcycle? The engine, right? For the brain, it's the neuron. While for the liver, this tiny hexagonal lobule is the core biological engine where all the heavy lifting actually gets done.
But, an engine can't run without fuel. In the liver, this fuel delivery system is called centripetal blood flow. Here's how it works. First, the hepatic artery pipes in this rich, oxygenated, nutrient-dense blood. Then, that blood moves through these super narrow microscopic tubes called sinusoids. And finally, it all drains right into the central vein, which is parked squarely in the middle of that hexagonal lobule. It's exactly like pouring petrol into a biological engine, so it has the glucose energy it needs to run.
Which brings us to section 3, the portal triad system, or as I like to call it, the factory pipeline. Since the liver is basically a massive manufacturing plant, it needs a really robust logistics system. Raw materials got to come in and finished products got to go out. So, at every single corner of those hexagonal lobules, you'll find a bundle of 3 specific vessels: the bile duct, the portal vein, and the hepatic artery. Together, this trio is known as the portal triad. They work in perfect harmony to shuttle blood into the engine and funnel freshly manufactured bile juice right on out.
All right, section 4. Let's zoom in even further and meet the factory workers themselves, hepatocytes and Kupffer cells.
Hepatocytes are your main specialized liver cells, and they are tiny. We're talking just 20 to 30 micrometers across. But hey, don't let their microscopic size fool you. There are millions of these guys packed in there. If you check out a histological tissue study under a microscope, you'll easily see them just working away, diligently processing nutrients and chemicals non-stop.
But every high-tech factory needs a good security system, right? Enter the Kupffer cells. These are unique, hollow structures hanging out right inside the sinusoids. They act as internal security guards using a process called phagocytosis. Basically, if some stray bacteria or an infection manages to hitch a ride into the liver's blood supply, these Kupffer cells literally consume and destroy the threat before it can shut down the factory floor.
Okay, we've mapped the blueprints: the lobes, the lobules, the triad pipelines, and the microscopic worker cells. But structure is just half the story. So how does this incredible machinery actually function? What is this factory actually producing day in and day out?
That leads us perfectly into section 5, essential liver functions. Let's break down 8 incredible biological processes.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that while the liver performs almost too many functions to count, its most basic job is acting as your body's biological pantry. Through a process called glycogenesis, the liver takes the excess glucose from the food you eat and packs it away into a stored form called glycogen.
And it's not just glucose it's keeping. The liver is an absolute hoarder. I mean, look at this storage vault. It holds on to bile juice. It stores fat in the form of cholesterol. It stockpiles an entire alphabet of vital nutrients: vitamin A, D, E, and B12. It safely locks all of this away until the exact second your body desperately needs it.
So when does your body need it? Well, that's where glycogenolysis comes in.
This is the exact reverse of storage. It's converting that stored glycogen back into usable glucose. Picture a normal day. It's 1:30 p.m., you haven't eaten since breakfast, and your stomach is rumbling, begging for food. But you push through, and strangely, by like 3 p.m., that hungry, empty feeling is just gone. You feel fine. Why? Because your liver realized you were starving and initiated glycogenolysis, dumping its stored glucose straight into your bloodstream to keep you powered up. Another really crucial factory output is lipogenesis. This is the sophisticated process where the liver takes glucose and protein molecules and literally converts them into fat, specifically lipoproteins. It's a complex chemical conversion that ensures your body has long-term energy reserves locked down.
But obviously, energy isn't the only thing keeping you alive. Have you ever wondered why you don't just bleed out from a simple paper cut? Yeah, you can thank your liver for that one too. The liver manufactures two highly specific, absolutely vital proteins called fibrinogen and prothrombin. Without these two biological products constantly rolling off the assembly line, our blood literally wouldn't have the ability to clot.
Now, with all this intense manufacturing going on, there is naturally some biological waste. The liver handles this through deamination. When the body breaks down proteins, it leaves behind these unwanted amino groups. The liver processes those groups, converting them into ammonia. Then, it ships that ammonia down to the kidneys so it can be filtered and flushed right out of your system. It's a wildly efficient waste management protocol.
And here's a surprising fact that brilliantly illustrates just how adaptable the liver is. We all know that in adults, red blood cells are manufactured inside our bone marrow. But what about a developing fetus in the womb whose tiny bones haven't even formed yet? Surprisingly, during fetal life, the liver completely changes its job description and acts as a primary blood factory, churning out the red blood cells that the growing baby needs to survive.
Of course, blood cells don't last forever. The average lifespan of a red blood cell is roughly 125 days. Once a cell hits this expiration date, it travels right back to the liver. The liver then dismantles these old, broken-down cells, converts them into a substance called bilirubin, which is eventually removed from the body through your urine. So yeah, it's also your body's ultimate biological recycling center.
So just think about what we've covered. This one singular organ is managing our energy, our blood, our vitamins, and our immune defense, all at the exact same time. We've mapped the gross anatomy, zoomed into the microscopic lobules, and explored 8 incredible physiological functions of this relentless factory. But it leaves us with one final fascinating mystery. Considering the sheer volume of toxic waste and heavy processing the liver handles every single minute, what happens when the machinery of the liver itself gets damaged and needs to be repaired? Just how far can that incredible superpower of regeneration actually go? Think about that the next time you hear your stomach rumble. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the amazing machinery inside you.